Action will be taken on the following items at the regular town council meeting on Tuesday, December 9th, 2025, in council chambers, Sparta Township Municipal Building, 65 Main Street, Sparta, New Jersey. The time is 7:06. All council meetings are now live streamed and can be viewed at the following link, www.youtube.com/SpartaTWP/streams. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the public and press on January 10th, 2025, by delivering to the press and posting on the township website a copy of this notice. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Sylvester.
Here.
Councilman Scott.
Here.
Councilman Blumetti.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Murphy.
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Here, let's stand and salute the flag.
Pledge
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all. Okay. I would like to have all of you join me in thanking Mayor Clark for his service for the past 2 years. Unfortunately, your plaque wasn't ready. I'm so sorry. But it's been a lot of things that we've had to go through in the past couple years. And above all, everything that you've done, I commend you and thank you. And it's with all the best interest at heart. I'd like to thank you for your service very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Just like to also,
Sure.
yeah. So I would
Anybody else?
Yeah, extend my thanks and appreciation to Mayor Clark for his service. It's there's a lot that goes on in the background, a lot of activity, probably almost every day, and it's not an easy job. And most of us, including probably the rest of us on council, don't know exactly what it's like. So and he always does what he thinks in the best interest of the township and the council. So thank you for all your dedication and for the sacrifice of time and energy.
Thank you.
I commend you and agree with Dean on your commitment for your service over the last few years as well. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Neil, for great service.
It's
Always focused.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to serve with you. I do want to take an opportunity. I tell people that being the mayor in a Faulkner town is kind of like being the tallest midget. I'm just one of five. However, you are sort of the focal point for, you're the first person that people contact when there's an issue. You also have to do a lot of the, negotiating with our township staff, and what I'd like to do at this time, these are not my accomplishments. These are the accomplishments of this township and of the five people who are up here. And so I'd like to go through with it because I think it's important to highlight that. And so and the thanks does not belong to me. It belongs to our township staff and the other council members who made this happen. First off, I want to talk about grants. Grants are simply, these are usually things that we would have to pay for anyway, that we don't have to because we have a township staff, including a great grant writing outfit that jumps on these and is able to get us funding. And so they include $7,000 for drive sober or get pulled over, $7,000 for click it or ticket, $7,000 for distracted driving. And then another one, which people have been able to witness, is $160,725 in a grant for Sparta Avenue improvements. Some accomplishments that this township has done. We did a full water utility, full system analysis, which will enable us to make the best decisions and investments going forward. We've had meetings with the Department of Transportation about how to improve traffic along the much congested Route 15 corridor. We've established a shared service with Hardison for fire prevention services. Shared services is a way that a township can defray cost and lower costs for a service that we would have to provide. And we renewed our 3-year labor contract with the Sparta FOP Superior Officers Association. Those are very important negotiations. They're also, a driver of our costs. But we are, we have an excellent police force, and so we were able to get that contract done. Most importantly, after 20 years of trying, we are as close as we've ever been to closing the landfill, having gotten the long-awaited wetland mitigation permit. We've also, this township has taken issues and tried to provide our residents information with respect. We brought in representatives from the DEP to talk about the AO polymer remediation, to get expert input into that. We did the same thing with the Sparta Mountain. We brought in experts from both sides to enlighten the public about that project. Capital improvements. These are improvements that you see. This is the sort of nuts and bolts of what a township does. This is what the people expect. They want the roads to be paved. They want the potholes to be fixed. And a township really has to do those things, and this is what they expect, and we've been able to do that. With respect to paving, we have done on Balsam, Maple, Birch, and Maple, Birch, and Balsam parkways. We've paved Shelley, Byram, and Wordsworth roads after gas line installation. We've paved Sussex Mills after gas line installation. We've assisted in Elizabethtown Gas Phase 1 and 2 of service up on Glen Road, so the people who live along there who've wanted gas service can get it. We've done town hall renovations, as you see out front, and the Main Street sidewalk and concrete curb improvements that we just finished recently. So these are real important capital projects that we've done. And finally, we've done important initiatives that I'm proud to say that part of these were ones that I initiated, which were the Film Ready. We're the first Film Ready town, which has now had a ripple effect across the entire county, with other townships now following suit, and now a countywide committee that will bring economic development to Sussex County. We've established a Trails Committee and begun Phase 1. And then we have a Beautification Committee, which will get underway next year. So all of these, I think this council and this township deserve recognition for that, and it's really my honor to do it. And I look forward to next year, and whoever takes his seat. And I've been lucky to be a deputy mayor my first year, and the mayor the 2 years. And maybe one of these days I'll just get to be a regular council person. We'll see. So in any event, we'll get on with the regular business, which brings us to the minutes. And so may I have a motion to approve the October 14th, 2025 regular meeting minutes as presented?
I move to approve the October 14th, 2025 minutes as presented.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion has carried. The October 14th, 2025 minutes have been approved. Manager Zepp, may we have the manager's report?
Surely. Before I do that, I know we did the outgoing mayor recognition, but I do think that there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And we've had a pretty wild year, Mayor. This has been your consecutive second year as well. So on behalf of the staff and all, I offer you kudos.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members, and all Sparta residents, whether you're here with us or watching from home. We're glad you're here with us tonight. Tonight, I have the honor of appointing a new volunteer to Sparta Township Fire Department. On the recommendation of Fire Chief Ryan Odom, I'm pleased to welcome Michael Mullaney Jr. as the newest member of our dedicated team. Mr. Mullaney joins us as a trained firefighter transferring from Harrington Park, New Jersey. With his experience and readiness, he will immediately contribute to the department's mission and serve the residents of Sparta with distinction. We thank Mr. Mullaney for his commitment to public service and are proud to have him on board. Welcome to Sparta. You may recognize in the town center, the old Fisher building at Ungerman Field was taken down last week by our Public Works and Parks staff, as it was becoming a public safety hazard. We plan on replacing it with a smaller storage facility and a pavilion in 2026. To improve service during the winter season, our IT and Public Works departments work together and have launched an online form on the Public Works webpage for residents to report mailboxes that have incurred damage during snow and ice control operations. The winter brochure in our Recreation Department is now available on the website, and registrations for winter 2026 programs and events will begin tomorrow, December 10th, for Sparta residents. Entries for the Holiday Home Decorating Contest have closed. We encourage everyone to visit the Recreation Facebook page to vote for your favorite decorated Sparta home between December 16th and through the 18th. The winner will be announced before Christmas. Sparta's Visit with Santa took place on Saturday, December 6th at Station Park, with almost 400 people enjoying the live entertainment, games, festive stacks, and touch-a-truck event. The photographer took photos of over 85 families with Santa. 90 letters to Santa will be sent to the North Pole. We thank all those who attended and made donations to the Sparta Food Pantry. I'd like to thank the Recreation and Park staff for all their hard work for this event. There is still time to request a call from Santa for your children this holiday season. Please register with the Recreation Department by Friday, December 12th. Seniors, do not forget to register for the annual holiday party at the Senior Center from noon to 2:30 p.m. on December 30th, as seating is limited. Cost is $15, so contact the Recreation Department to reserve your seat. The Sparta Library continues their book swap outreach to seniors in the community by going to Knoll Heights on the second Wednesday of each month from 2 to 3, and to the Chelsea on the fourth Monday of the month from 10:30 to 11:30. Those who have participated in the book swap appreciates this outreach. Chief McCarrick is not able to attend tonight's meeting, but the police department was awarded $7,000 through the New Jersey Department of Highway and Traffic Safety, the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over campaign program. This grant was secured with the assistance of our grant writer. Lastly, please be advised that all municipal offices will be closed for a half-day on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Friday, December 26th, so that employees can spend time with their families for the holiday season. This concludes my report, and I wish everyone a happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager
Mayor.
Zepp. May we have a motion to accept the manager's report?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the manager's report.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The manager's report as carried.
I'd also like to add to that, excuse me, Neil, that also the Parks and Rec, I'd like to thank them very much because they also had a donation box that they kept for the Sparta Community Food Pantry, which this year more than ever has needed it. So I'd like to thank them very, very much for doing that, for collecting for the food pantry.
Thanks.
Okay, we are now up to our first public comment period. This is limited to items that are not on the agenda. So if you see an item on the agenda that you want to talk about, now is not the time. This is only for items that are not on the agenda. And please be cognizant of the 5-minute limit.
James Castamore, Sparta. Mayor, I attended a Trails Committee meeting here in Town Hall, and Mr. Dykstra had all his maps and so forth in reference to the transfer of that property. And you explained to us that it was being done by Dykstra for free. I did an Oprah request, and I find that Dykstra Engineering charged the Township of Sparta for Phase 1. The bill was over $19,000. I just got it. I just opened it and got it. So how did we go from free to $19,000? I don't understand. Because you're the one that sat in that meeting, and you said it more than once, that Dykstra was doing all this for free. 3 to me is zero, not $19,000. Could you explain that to us, please?
If that ends your public comment, I can answer that for you.
Say?
Are you done with your public comment? I don't want to take your time by answering.
No, go right ahead.
Okay. My understanding, that relates to, not to the trails, but to the wetland mitigation that we've had to do with
Yes.
respect to
It's
the,
for the closing of the landfill.
The invoice
project.
clearly reads Phase 1.
It shouldn't.
It does. So maybe we can get a correction on it and let me know.
We get a correction on your Oprah request, but there's two, the only voucher for the Dykstras is for the surveys that Doug is doing for the parcel donations on behalf of the landfill, and that's actually taken out of an escrow provided by the leasing group.
Why would the township be paying for it then?
They maintain the escrow.
So that Phase 1 is different than the Phase 1 over here?
No, there's no phases. This is for the landfill closure, and it's
No,
dealing
this
with the
invoice
parcels.
clearly reads Phase 1, and the mayor keeps talking about Phase 1.
I'd have to look at it.
Okay, if you would
I'm
do
happy
that,
to
I'd
look at
appreciate
and
it.
go over, but the only expense that we're paying to Dykstra is on behalf of the landfill.
Okay, well, if you can check into this, because the invoice clearly reads Phase 1.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
no problem.
Good evening. I am David Sears, Sparta, New Jersey. I am a partner in And Design Architects here in town. We've been in town for more than 25 years. I'm here to express some of the frustration our clients are having with the zoning and building department processes. Most recently, a client submitted their application October 24th, and it was not until last Friday, December 5th, that they received a denial letter. So that's 6 weeks. I'm not sure why this process is taking so long. I know there's a lot of elements that go into it. There's approvals from Sussex County Health Department. There's approvals from the Delaware Soil Conservation District, and there's, for some reason, there's also an approval required from the Lake Mohawk Country Club. The Lake Mohawk Country Club, as far as I know, is not an enforcing agency and doesn't have any kind of say legally, but I am a little bit worried why Sparta Township is providing enforcement of the Lake Mohawk bylaws. It doesn't seem like that should be even part of the application process for a zoning permit. I do have a couple of comments about Section 18, 5.3, which I know is an ordinance that is coming up. Should I hold my comments about that one until then, or should I?
is that, oh,
That's
are
the
you related to
soil,
stormwater?
not stormwater, yeah. Which is 18.5.
Yeah, I think that would be probably best, because that one is an amendment to our stormwater that's mandated
Okay,
by
I
the
can bring up some
state.
comments about that then.
Okay, yeah, you can do that during the hearing.
But I don't know why this process is taking so long. We have, supposedly there's 10-day period that the zoning office has to review their applications. The people go in, they have their applications, they pay their fee of $45 or $60. They also have to write a check to the soil conservation, no, not the soil conservation, the health department at that time. And what happens after that, I don't know, because it's taking way too long to get this process done. After that zoning process is done, there's still another 4 weeks after that to get a building permit issued. So we're talking, 2.5 to 3 months just to get a building permit in this town. And it doesn't happen in any other municipalities. Most municipalities will turn those around in 3 to 4 weeks. Building permits are issued, zoning permits are issued, and they're done. So I'd like to try to find out how we can get that process moving a little bit faster. And that's really all I had to say tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that this isn't the first I've heard about this, and I think that, we have folks on this council who have either served or are serving and have, command of the planning issues. But I understand the frustration. I understand that has effects where people stay away from Sparta because of these delays. And that has an effect on our bottom line. It affects our commercial properties that remain vacant that could otherwise be businesses in there, which then would increase the valuation of those properties. So it's a serious issue, and I commend you for coming in and letting us know. I know that there's folks on here that are working on that, and I think, Councilman Blumetti and Councilman Scott at another part of this proceeding will talk about the Business Development Committee's meeting that they had, I think, last week, sharing I think there were some other business owners that expressed similar concerns, and then if there's a plan going forward to deal with it. But thanks again for mentioning that. Any other member of the public wishing to be heard?
Jen Rogel, 1 Millstone Court. So back to the land situation. Mr. Dykstra did come out to my property. He walked the property with myself and several other residents, explained to us the different types of markers, so I appreciate his time on that. But he did also point out that there is a Sparta-owned right-of-way at the end of Old Cedar Drive, which is adjacent to the wetland property, which he was not sure if it was included or not included in this land swap arrangement, where he actually had highlighted the map for me. He did not include it. So that's something else that I would like to know whether or not that right-of-way is included or not in this proposed plan. I think that would be something important to know, and if not, why not, if this is part of a preservation act. He did also make some comments about, he did refer to it as phase 1 because this is an investigative phase of the project. And he did say if the cost of the trails proved to be exorbitant and not doable, then the land swap would not be something that we were moving forward with. So I was curious about where we are, and I know we had talked about writing deed restrictions and all of this, and is that something then that we are turning to the town attorney? Is that something that we're now, are we finding out what the cost of the trails are? Are we getting estimates or plans, or where are we in this phase before I know it's a process and I get it, it's step by step, but I am curious as we go each step of the process, I know that we would all like to be informed. So do you know anything about the right-of-way?
No, I don't. I think as we indicated earlier, that this is the process that we're undergoing, which is, you have to really dig down deep to, make sure that the property that's being conveyed is proper. And that's why we're just doing that now. It hasn't started. We haven't had any negotiations with the New Jersey Land Trust whatsoever. Obviously, if there's an issue with, what are the mets and bounds of the land that's being conveyed, that's what we're doing now. We haven't come to shore on that. We just literally got approval 2 weeks ago to even start this process, and we couldn't start that process without the approval. So we have a trails meeting tomorrow where, that probably will come up of where we are in that process. But like I said before, nothing gets signed by this township until council has had an opportunity to look at it and to approve it. In fact, even, we'll get buy-in before we even begin the negotiations with New Jersey Land Trust, and we haven't even started that. And I think Mr. Dykstra had indicated that process could take over a year to do that. So we're literally just getting started.
Can you clarify what you mean by negotiations with the land trust? Because as far as, they unanimously voted to accept the land. So as far as they were concerned, it was just about deed transfer. So what do you mean by negotiations?
Well, that's deed means the Mets, and it has to go to a contract, right? It was a concept, right? A concept of at that meeting was simply approval of it going forward as a concept. And as I've explained repeatedly, nothing is legal until it boils down to an actual contract that describes the deed transfer. We're just not there yet. And so before we even negotiate with the New Jersey Land Trust about what we want that deed to look like, we have to get approval of the 5 people up here as to what that contract is going to say. And then we present that to the New Jersey Land Trust and make sure that it's consistent with with what we want, and then like any negotiation, I don't know yet. I can't predict what they will come back with.
Okay.
So, again, this process is simply just starting.
Okay. Is it correct then that before that you would move to the actual transfer of a deed, that you would have an estimated cost of the trails that are intended to be built?
I don't know that. I'd have to talk with, as a committee about that. I think, as I pointed out earlier, even if these trails do not happen, there's a particular, very important, by putting this in this property that has no restrictions on it now, which is, I think that Doug had explained that the deed restrictions that are on there are pretty wide open. Putting this property in the hands of the New Jersey Land Trust preserves that land, preserves open space, which again was the number one reported priority when we've done a survey of what Sparta residents wanted. So even if you don't build this particular trail, the fact that you've preserved into a open space, I think has its own standalone benefits.
Okay. It's just a little different than what Mr. Dykstra said, so that's why I was looking for
Well,
clarification.
I wasn't present
Yeah,
there,
no.
so I can only take your word for it, and I will talk to him about that. It's been my understanding that, that there's benefits to this even if the trail isn't built. I hope that it can get built, but simply leaving this property in the hands of Sparta Township with no deed restrictions and not giving it and having it overseen by the New Jersey Land Trust, I think if we want to preserve open space, this is the best way to do it.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment on items not on the agenda? Okay, not seeing anyone. We will move on to the expenditures. Deputy Mayor Murphy, would you please read the expenditures for December 9th, 2025?
Yes, the expenditures for December 9th, 2025 are $725,357.98.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the expenditures for December 9th, 2025?
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 The expenditures for December 9th, 2025 have been approved. We're now up to, we don't have any ordinance to introduce, but we have 3 ordinances for a hearing. And so, Madam Clerk, could you please read the title of Ordinance 2520?
An ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 11, Taxation and Revenue of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Sparta, amending Section 2-62, 100% disabled veteran tax refunds.
Okay, we are now open to the public for comment specifically on Ordinance 2520. So if you have any comments to 2520, please do so now.
Jerry Murphy, 161 Alpine Trail, Sparta. This is a flawed ordinance. It should not be adopted. It should be rewritten, corrected, and reintroduced at a later date. If you're using AI or Chat GPT, it really comes through on this. For one thing, you're supposed to use the most recent version of a universal citation, and you haven't been. I gave it to you in November. You've ignored it. It's New Jersey Revised Statutes 54, dated 2024. You're leaving out words. First, whereas. It says the dwelling, house, and the lot or curtilage is in the citation. You leave the things out. You're also missing text at the bottom of that whereas. The one item, number 4, whereas, says, the Township Council desires to establish a formal policy providing that there shall be no retroactive refund granted. This is punitive. If you can't balance your budget because of lack of experience or expertise, don't do it on the backs of 100% disabled American veterans. Let's be more professional. Find a way. You're trying to claw back things that were given to them by a previous council. That's unsatisfactory. You got a section here, section 1, down at the bottom. You're making a reference, an incorrect reference. Again, you're supposed to be referencing revised statute 54, 4-3, 30. It doesn't read that in part A, paragraph A under section 1. Also in there, it says, in the time of war. What does that have to do with somebody who's in reserve or in training? It's poorly written. You've got to clarify things. Also, at the very last sentence in there, it says, to have a service-connected disability and to be determined to be 100% permanently disabled. What does that mean? Paragraph B under section 1 also goes, the tax assessor's office will be supply the applicant with the appropriate paperwork. I've never seen the word paperwork in an ordinance before. Is it a block and lot? If so, say so. But don't leave it open like that. What are people supposed to write? A little White House on a hill? Come on, people. The description on number 2 under that paragraph, or parentheses 2, a description of the property for which the exemption is claimed. Again, block and lot. Let's be precise. And then also, you're completely missing section 2, the paragraph on severability. Like I say, this thing is flawed. It has no right even being presented to the public.
Anyone else wishing to be heard?
Hi, Christine Quinn, Alpine Trail. Good evening. I'm here to speak in strong opposition to Ordinance 2520. This proposal to reduce tax refund support for Sparta disabled veterans is not just a budget adjustment. It's a reflection of our priorities and our character as a community. The portion of the refund being eliminated represents minimal savings to each of our individual tax bills. But for the disabled veterans who rely on this support, the impact is very significant. These are men and women who served or are serving our nation and sacrificed for our freedom. They deserve our full support, not just partial measures. I understand the argument that Sparta will still provide part of the refund, but let's be clear. Reducing the benefit sends the wrong message. Other towns may have chosen to cut back because state law now will allow you to do that. But Sparta's never been a town to follow bad policy. We have always led by example. In our town, we have set the standard for what it means to honor the service and sacrifice. So much so that Sparta Township received the New Jersey Governor's We Value Our Veterans Award just 3 years ago. When families choose Sparta that are coming up here from east of us, specifically in 2 municipalities, in Morris, it's 36, and in Sussex, it's 23 other municipalities that they overlook, to decide to come here. They choose Sparta because of what we stand for. Our Hometown Heroes Banner Initiative and Salute 07871 programs are proof that honoring veterans is part of our identity. Budget decisions come down to priorities. There are many alternative ways to address 2026 budget challenges without reducing support for disabled veterans. Let's keep the program intact and show that Sparta's commitment to its heroes is unwavering. I urge you to table this vote tonight and explore other options. Let's continue to lead, not to follow. Let's keep Sparta a community that honors its veterans not only in words, but also in its actions. Because what we save under this ordinance may cost our community much, much more.
I do have a question regarding the current policy of the 2-year look back, because how it was explained to me is how it was explained by the council, and I believe that I misunderstood. I was explained that the 2-year look back was something that was, that all 100%, or veterans within our community who are deemed 100% disabled were entitled to, and that does not seem to actually be the case. And I'd like to know if I'm misinterpreting it, which is the correct stance. But it is my understanding that it is up to 2 years. So often, for many of our veterans, the Veterans Administration doesn't process these things in a timely manner. I know members of this community that have been working with the Veterans Administration and have worked 15 years to finally receive the status of 100% disabled. And that individual was entitled to a 2-year look back under the current policy. I know another veteran within our community who is also deemed 100% disabled, but their process was much faster. Their time of initiation of the process with the Veterans Administration and the approval of their 100% disability status was 9 months. And therefore, they were entitled to a look back of 9 months, not 2 years. So just like the gentleman who it took 15 years to receive that status, he didn't get a 15-year look back. He was entitled to the 2 years. However, the gentleman that had a much more timely process of 9 months received a 9-month look back. Is that correct? Because I thought it was 2 years for everyone, and it is not. It is up to 2 years, and I think that needs to be clear. Mr. Zepp is shaking his
You're
head.
spot on.
Okay.
Your understanding is correct. Okay, the look back is up to 24 months, but it starts when the VA receives the application, and it can take some
Years.
time to be reviewed. Some folks are lucky, and they get it within a few months. And so
I don't
as-
like to think of our 100% disabled veterans as lucky when their process is handled in a timely manner. I close to my heart. I can't use the word lucky for that, Mr. Zepp.
All right. Maybe
I
it was
get
a
it.
poor choice of words for me, but I think anyone who can process paperwork through the bureaucracy of the government, I've heard many times people call it lucky, all right? Of course, I'm not referring to the status of veterans. I would like, because I've been in the middle of this, I've been listening to a lot of people on this. You did the best job on explaining the look back on that. However, people need to understand that it's the federal law, state mandate, that when the VA hospital deems that vet is now eligible, and that vet comes to our tax assessor and the assessor signs off on it, they now are property tax exempt for paying property taxes in the town of Sparta for as long as they own the property and their spouse. All right, so that person is now, they pay zero taxes.
And
That's
God
100%.
bless them.
Right. That cost is borne on the rest of the residents in Sparta, and it's not just the municipal cost. It's the school cost and the county cost. It becomes a substantial amount of money, all right? However, it's mandated. We don't have control over that. We do not have control over once they become eligible for the property tax exemption. What we do have control over is that look back, all right? I was receiving memos from my tax assessor and tax collector saying, hey, Jim, we're hurting financially. You all know this. The budget is very tight right now.
Somewhere
And
else.
I do use the term because you hired me to run this budget in this town. All right, we are not in a comfortable area right now. I tell the mayor and the council they cannot afford this benefit right now. You cannot. It's irresponsible. And it is. When we are in better shape and we have a healthy surplus, that is the time.
We
to
had a
then-
healthy surplus.
We do not have a healthy surplus.
We had.
Right.
Had.
Exactly. And we've been drawing down on that healthy surplus, and one of the drawdowns has been the look back. That is one of the culprits. Right now, this year, we're spending $274,000 in the look back. All right? That is what the council had deemed at the time. Every time we get that. Now, it all varies. It's a moving target. You all say, oh, you can budget for it. Actually, you can't, because you don't know the value of the property that the person's going to have. And you don't know how many you're going to get in that given year. That's why it comes out of your surplus. On that. That's why it's a tough target. All right? And the thing is common sense. I really do apply. We all love our veterans. I went and I talked to Commander Litchfield about this. He knows this. Chris knows that we do a lot for our veterans. We bend over backwards. We do what we can for our veterans. God knows they deserve it. All right? But the question for me, as the manager of your budget, is it responsible? And I got to say right now, and I'm telling my council, and it's up to them. Fortunately, I don't get to vote on this, but I'm telling them at this time, at this juncture, sustain that benefit right now until we're in healthier financial shape, where then you all can come up and say, you know what? Let's acknowledge our veterans one time more. It does say something that you only have 2 towns in the state of New Jersey that offer this look back right now.
Yeah, it takes a little more to be a Spartan, proud to be a Spartan, and all of those things.
I get it. I get it. But
I just feel like there has to be somewhere else we can
it's financially
look.
irresponsible right now, and that's my stand on it. That's what that is my delivery on it. I do like your understanding of the look back, because I've seen it really confused and all. So it goes up to 24 months. All right, and you're right. There have been people who've been longer than that, and they only get the 24 months. There have been people shorter than that, and they get whatever the time was at that
And
time.
these people have sacrificed so much for all of us, not just you standing up there, but
Jen, absolutely. We have 82 100% deemed 100% veterans in the
and
town
I'll
of
say it
Sparta
again,
right now.
God bless them all.
All right, yeah, and
Yeah. And another thing
we're
that I
going to
do
be
want,
introducing a budget soon, and this is part of the equation. It's part of it, and
I urge you to look elsewhere, but I do want the council to know one additional thing, and there is an event out of town this evening that has been on the calendar for quite some time, and that is why many of our veterans who have been attending meetings and who have been speaking on this are not able to attend tonight. So I do want that to be noted, that they are not here, not because this isn't something that they feel so strongly about, but that they had a commitment that's been on the calendar for quite some time.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else wishing to be heard on ordinance 2520?
Hi, Joan Furman, speaking as a private citizen, and I wasn't even going to speak tonight, but after listening to this and talking about the budget and the deficit and all, just a few weeks ago, I would just like to know how, I think it was $450,000 that you okayed for a street sweeper. We have street sweepers, we have veterans. That's all.
Jim Castlemore, Sparta. You know, Jim just said the magic words, town's in financial bad trouble. Well, let's see. First, we started out with an ordinance film ready. We spent thousands and thousands of dollars, rewrote the ordinance, went back and forth. How many dollars we generated off of that so far? 0. Next item up for grabs, cannabis. Everybody walked in here and said, we don't want cannabis in Sparta. Council people said, we don't want it. Got to do it anyway. Went to a vote. That vote probably cost $50,000, all said and done. Now we're to this. We're going to do away with disabled veterans benefits. We can spend money for all these things. We can have the mayor be ordered to have the township attorney start a lawsuit against NJDEP without a resolution. Just go do it. Spend money. Mr. Dash isn't working for free. And you're all concerned about, well, we got to find the money someplace. Well, let's see. We have no plan for the trails. We don't know what it's going to cost, but Mayor wants to move forward. We're going to swap land. We can't get a landfill closed that was shut down in 1984. That landfill's been sitting over there open for 41 years. Nobody did a thing about it. Everybody kicked the can down the road. And there's a former mayor sitting right here. He knows that we couldn't get it closed. Everybody's worried about water quality. Going to start this thing, Sparta Responsible Development. Got sued twice. Once on an appeal, once straight through, once on appeal. Two of those people today sit on this town council, sued the township of Sparta. Cost the township of Sparta thousands upon thousands to defend themselves. Thousands. Now we're into court again because we can't make a deal with the developer for that building. The state says water quality plan approved. We don't like that. We're going to use our egos and sue. And it's all on the back of the veteran, 100% disabled veteran. Not one of you sitting up there, council people, are veterans, I don't think. But you take it out on a veteran, 100% disability. That's a pretty sad state of affairs. I hate to tell you that. When you can spend $340,000 on a street sweeper, but you can't take care of your veterans. That's all I got to say. You've wasted money in this town over your egos. Thank you.
Mr. Castlemore, I just have a question unrelated to this. It has to do, while you're here, it's a letter that we sent you on September 9th, 2025.
Yes, sir.
And are you represented by counsel in that matter?
Not yet.
You're not, okay. I just have to ask that because I do have some questions about that.
Go ahead, ask your questions.
We had asked you, we had believed that you were in possession of a document that is attorney-client privileged, and we had asked you to turn that document over, but you haven't so far, and we just, while you're here, is there a reason why you haven't done so?
I have no intention of doing that.
Okay, so you would,
You can answer me a question, Mayor.
what, if I could finish,
You can
if,
answer me a question.
Point of order.
Why didn't you go down, call my chief and fire department down here to a meeting, try to get me dismissed from the fire department?
I didn't try to get you dismissed. I pointed out that we had sent you a letter
Yeah.
saying that you had been in possession of something.
Sir, has nothing to do with this town. I'm not a member, I'm not an employee of this township. The only time I'm an employee of this township, sir, is when I step on that fire truck. The rest of the time, I'm a private citizen.
Okay, so just to be,
So that's the end of that right there.
okay, so just to be clear, that in response to our letter of September 9th, you have no intention of obligating it without
sir, I do
subpoena,
not.
is that right?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Let me explain something to you, Mayor.
Jim, wait. You have no right. I know you're a lawyer. This is a private citizen.
You're not a lawyer
This
in
is
the
not a
state of New Jersey.
courtroom. And what he's saying without legal counsel present is a problem. This is gross overreach. It's a deflection against the topic we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about an ordinance, and you're bringing up litigation. Jim, you need to stop this. This is not right. And somebody's got to stand up and say something.
Let's get back to work, please.
Talk to me about the ordinance, not about your lawsuit.
What is going on?
This is disgusting.
Hey, everybody. My name's John Finkeldy. I live at 33 St. Mary's Place. I'm a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, served 21 years, and I'd like to talk about this ordinance. Taking a quick look at it, it's like you're walking over dollars to pick up pennies. You guys are not looking at this correctly. What you can and can't control, you're going to control a small fraction. You can't control the state law that gives the exemption to the 100% disabled. But you're going to go after people for a small amount. So what you're doing, Mr. Zepp, is combining the taxes with the discount or the look back? You're saying we're, how much did you say? Because these are the numbers I got from just the look back. We started off in our conversation at 90 to 125, can't be budgeted. To me, that'd be 100,000. Now all of a sudden I hear it's 274. Is that 274 in look backs this year?
Yes.
Okay, 274 in look back. How about last year? How old's the ordinance for the look back?
22.
22. So it should be pretty easy information to pull up. So it's 274 this year for what, 2025?
Yes.
Okay, what was 2024? Does anybody have an idea?
It was very similar because we had almost a similar.
All right,
date.
similar,
It's
similar.
about just under 200.
Yeah. 23, 20, because it was mid-2022 that it came in. I'm just saying, it's not a good look. I mean, this is absolutely sad. I can't even believe I'm standing up here talking about this to this council. Like I said, you're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. There's a lot of other ways we can save money around here. You and I've discussed it, water, stuff like that, wastewater, bunch of other stuff. I don't hear us talking about that, so maybe we should investigate other things. I'm vehemently against this ordinance.
Joanne Scally, Sparta, New Jersey. First of all, you were so disrespectful in trying to draw Jim into a legal problem. And it was supposed to be only on the ordinance, but yet you went away from only on the ordinance because it was something you desired. Okay, now on to the veterans. Totally against this. I came from a family of long line of veterans. My uncle's buried in Europe, died during World War II. My stepson was born with spina bifida because my husband served in Vietnam and is Agent Orange afflicted, and his son was born with severe spina bifida. He was in a wheelchair his entire life because of the Agent Orange. And my stepson could have got money from the state because of his disability, but my husband chose not to because he said, let some other family have it. But when a person has a disability, the whole family suffers. So my husband could have went and got disability too, he chose not to. But the whole entire family suffers with these disabilities, not just the veteran. We owe our veterans. We owe the families of veterans. These veterans come home from war or wherever they got injured, and they're forever scarred. Their families are forever scarred. They need our respect. They need our help. You said it's 82 veterans that are receiving the 100%. That's 0.40% of the Sparta population. We owe these 0.40 part of the population this money. It's not something that we're just giving out. It's something they deserve. It's not something that you should say, well, you know, we don't have the money for it. These people deserve this. They suffered for it. Their families suffered for it. Their children suffered for it. My stepson died at 52 from it. He suffered his entire life because of affliction from war. We owe these people this. You don't know how it is to come home from war with an affliction, whether it's loss of legs, a traumatic brain injury, PTSD. You have to live this your entire life. You don't just come home from war, oh, I'm 100%, go on with my life. You do not go on with your life. You struggle through your life. For the rest of your life, you struggle. So they gave us our freedoms. They gave us everything we deserve and more, and they sacrificed for us. And they would do it again. A lot of these soldiers, Marines, Air Force, they would go back and do it again. Like I said, my whole family was involved in it, my children. My grandson just got out of the Navy. So I'm a proud person to support our veterans, and we should be supporting them here in Sparta, not throwing them away. It's a measly sum of money. What would it be, maybe $40 a year? We throw money away, like the one gentleman said about you ordering a lawsuit against the DEP. How much is that going to cost us? You didn't have any problems then. So why do you have a problem now? You have no problem with the lawsuits thrown here, 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 but you have a problem with the veterans. That's shameful, very shameful. it makes me sick. It's just so shameful that you have no problem. You sit up there and write up this ordinance and have no shame about what you are doing to our veterans. But you could throw money away at all these lawsuits. And I'd love to know how much it costs, but we'll probably never know. But again, please vote no to this and give our veterans our appreciation. They deserve it. We do not need to throw this. I'm just speechless with it. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Please remember our veterans.
Thank you.
Quinn again. I'd have a quick recommendation to what you said, Jim, which is that you guys aren't looking, the ordinance, the way this is presented right now, says that you would be doing away with it. It doesn't say you're going to hold on it. It doesn't say you're going to just put it on hold somewhere until the town is healthy again. My understanding of the significance of these costs is not so much around the fact of the municipal taxes, which are only 17.5 cents on the dollar. It's the fact that the township still needs to be whole when it comes to the county and also the school. So you have to pay 63% of the tax dollar and the other 18 cents of the tax dollar, and you're on the hook for that, even though that money's not coming in. So I would make a recommendation, if in fact the spirit of this is truly what you say it is, not that I agree with it, but if you're going to move forward with something, then maybe an option is to put that in the ordinance, to say we're suspending it, but don't withhold the whole thing. Give them the 17 cents, what you can control, what you're not on the hook to give out at the very least, and say we're going to do this for a year or two, but don't take the whole thing away. Because when you take the whole thing away, then you have to start at ground zero and bring it back. I don't think it should be taken away at all. I stand very firmly to what I said before, but really it looks like this is the way that you guys are looking to go. And I'm pleading on behalf of the veterans, on behalf of whatever, and to stay in spirit with what you're saying. If your intention is not to take it away altogether, look at other options. Give them the benefit, at the very least, of the municipal tax, if that's really necessary. I mean, it's shameful that you're in this position, to be honest with you, that you don't have the money for this. It's shameful. It's ridiculous. But here's where we are. But again, to Jerry's point, to put it on the backs of just one demographic in this town that is so special to us is craziness. I mean, what about, someone was here before talking about being more business friendly. That would help with funding for sure. There's a lot of other things that you guys can look at. So again, before you move forward with this thing, please really listen to what everyone is saying. Maybe just table it, take it down, and look at other options before racing to this.
Okay, anyone else wishing to be heard on ordinance 2520?
Jerry Murphy, just to correct,
I do want to just get a point of order about you have a 5-minute limit. Do people get able to keep coming back up?
that's not a point of order.
No, it is.
I just got a simple clarification for
No, sir,
Mr.
sir,
Zepp.
Sir, you're not being recognized to speak.
What?
You're not being recognized to speak. You already had an opportunity.
No, there's no qualification like that. Come on,
well, you
come
can
on,
disagree.
Dash, knock it off.
You could disagree, but we have
Mr.
every
Zepp,
right.
just to correct you.
No, you're not going to
the
correct it. We're not going to. We're
Hospital
not going to
has
have a
nothing
dialogue.
to say about a
So
veteran's
you're going to be asked to
disability.
leave the meeting if you keep
It's called a
continuing.
rating board, and a rating board is the one that determines the percentage of disability.
Where is
Every
that
single
located?
veteran
Rating- where's-
is a different,
Where's the rating board?
the rating board can be in Indianapolis, it can be in Philadelphia, it could be all over the country.
Explains why it takes so long.
And they're all civilians. And they could care less in a lot of instances about veterans.
Problem with the-
So that's one mistake that you made. Secondly, every veteran is an individual case. Once their disability rating is established by Department of Veterans Affairs, from that point forward should be what get their taxes back from, not a look back. From that date established by the VA forward, any taxes they have paid is reimbursed back to them, with the exception of maybe penalties if they haven't been current in their taxes.
But the state mandate right now says
Well, the
it's
state-
when the assessor validates it, not when the rating board does. Correct?
No.
Yes, what the assessor has
No.
to validate
Yeah.
the
No,
eligibility of the veteran.
Listen, we need
The
to move
assessor
on.
here
Yeah.
validates when the claim here was
Mr.
put in,
Murphy,
not
we do
when.
need to move on.
Well, wait a minute, I'm clarifying
I know
things so
you're
you people
clarifying,
can
but
make
if we-
an informed
If we allow
decision.
everyone to have extra time, then we'll never get through these meetings,
Really?
right? We have a
I thought
5-minute
this was-
allocation, and I think you had the
This
opportunity.
is a public
when you first
hearing on an
spoke-
ordinance.
When you had yes, you had the opportunity.
There's no time limitation
Yeah,
other
there
than
is.
5
there is. 5
minutes
minutes.
per.
Yeah,
Murphy.
we've established that
Well,
by
I'll
resolution.
yield then back to you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay. Anyone else from the public wishing to be heard on ordinance 2520?
I might not be as Scott Rogoff, 1 Millstone, Sparta. I might not be as articulate as some of you on the board, especially you, Mr. Mayor. I'm a veteran of 23 years in the United States Navy, and I served all over the world as a hospital corpsman taking care of people that were grossly injured in combat. So, some come home with noticeable injuries. Some do not come home with noticeable injuries, but all have served and all have the scars of having served across their respective services. Some you can see, some you can't. I'm embarrassed that our town of Sparta would not just immediately put aside this talk of money and taking away money for veterans. It's embarrassing. But what's more embarrassing, Mr. Mayor, is that you would stand up in this discussion of veterans information and this discussion and accuse somebody of something that had nothing to do with anything related to this. That's just, you should know better. You're an attorney, you should know better. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Anyone else wishing to be heard on 2520? I think we will take a 5-minute recess. I think there's a legal question that Councilman Blumetti needs to make, which would be privileged to our attorney. So I'd like to make a motion for a 5-minute recess.
A second.
Okay. So we have a second. All in favor of a 5-minute recess, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. again. All right. All right. I'd like to make a motion to reconvene.
Second.
Second.
So I would like to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And just everyone is, everyone's had the public comment period, so it now goes back to council for discussion and comments. And I know Councilman Blumetti seems to be chomping at the bit, so
So-
I'll let him go.
I'd like to make a motion to table ordinance 2520 for now. Do I have a second?
I will second.
All right, we can take it back to council. What would be the reason that you're for tabling it?
Just to give us another chance to sharpen the pencil a little bit and see if there's a way to perhaps not fully eliminate it, but find some kind of middle ground that is a palatable solution to our financial situation, to what we see as the future, and to what our veterans need. So just another chance to go back and look at it one more time.
Okay.
And I'd like to say that it's not taking away from the veterans, and I know it is something that was put through, Ms. Quinn, when you were on the board, and it's wonderful. Unfortunately, the budget that we had, that the surplus has been drawn down because there were things that happened in the past that didn't happen and should have. But we can readjust it, sharpen the pen, and I would never do anything to harm the veterans or take anything away. They're still getting 100% disability. I've tried to help people get 100% disability myself. I've tried to help with the VA process, and it is a horrible process, horrible. But I agree to table it and work on it.
May I?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, just first of all, I'm disheartened to have just witnessed and, experienced the dialogue that just went back and forth. And I'm hoping that moving forward, whether from the balance of this meeting and well into next year, that the public and this council will find a happy medium, have open dialogue respectfully and with more of an amicable approach with open dialogue on both sides. So saying that, I mean, I look and I listen to what's going on, and I think the ordinance as it stands right now, and the whole purpose and intent of what I was hearing, and I'm going on record with it, is that this is a symptom to a bigger cause. And, whether it's a shortage in revenue or shortage in surplus, there's other ways to look at it than other than just immediately defaulting that this will be the reason to balance a budget, when in fact we haven't seen a budget as of yet. So until I see a budget and we see the proposed budget and look at other alternatives in other areas to either generate additional revenue to offset this and or cut expenses to manage and balance this out, I'm going to support Councilman Blumetti's motion to table it. And I will also say, in the event the state does come back and make changes or modifications to this program, we can always revisit that if they're equal to or advantageous to benefiting the veterans. So I just want to go on record saying that. So thank you, and thank you for giving me the time to speak. Thank you.
Councilman Scott?
How long would we be tabling it for?
I mean, it's indefinite until it gets brought back up, so. I think that, Councilman Blumetti may have some ideas about what the revisions would be, and so I'd encourage him to to submit that and to and let the rest of the council know and see if there's something more palatable.
Yeah. Doesn't mean zero, doesn't mean it's going away, that we're not going to revisit it, Mark, but let's just take another look at it. So it won't be this year, obviously.
And let's hope the state comes up with what they say they're going to, and possibly help the municipalities and reimburse municipalities for some of it.
I mean, that would be the win-win for all of us.
It would,
If in fact the
if in
state
fact that happens.
offset that through
We're
funding.
talking about it now in the assemblies, but it's just talk now.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to make clear, this ordinance did not originate through any individual council member. This came through our township staff, the people closest to the budget, people, it comes on the recommendation of our CFO, our tax assessor. And so our council is sitting here thinking, okay, you want this, you're in the best position to determine how best to do this. And so I want people to understand that this wasn't a way to say, let's penalize a veteran. And I think it would be very unfair to think that anyone up here doesn't have the utmost respect for our veterans. We were simply faced with a situation where, we don't run this town. We just, that it's run well. And this became the recommendation of the professionals that we had. And I think it would be unfair to walk away with, regardless of how people vote, that somehow you're less supportive of veterans just because of how you vote on this. Because I don't think anyone can deny that Councilman Murphy is a steadfast proponent of veterans, Mr. Sylvester, Dean, all of us. And we're faced with a situation here that is not of our own making. We're not the one causing the delay. That's the Veterans Affairs. And in the October budget, they are recommending cutting 30,000 people from the Veterans Affairs Association. Of those 30,000 will be people who make these disability determinations. And so we need to get serious about, if we respect our veterans, we need to be advocating in Washington to tell them, don't get rid of these 30,000 people. It's just going to lead to more delays. And then the state is the one that imposed this on us. And I don't think we can say that the 562 other towns that don't offer this somehow don't like veterans or somehow are not patriotic. So I don't want people to come away with this viewing, oh, however you vote, that somehow you're not patriotic enough. That's just unfair. And it's really unfair to the actual veterans to put them in that situation. So what are we supposed to say? Oh, if we vote for this, then therefore it's the veterans' fault that we couldn't pay for something? We couldn't do the trails, or we couldn't do something else because we had to fund. That's not fair to them. Don't put them in that situation. And so, we are offering a substantial benefit that other towns don't make, and the point is well taken. That is something that distinguishes Sparta from other townships. And it may be worth trying to preserve. But I didn't want it to look like, it's been framed as sort of a false choice. That somehow if you support this, if you vote against, if you vote for it, then somehow you're less supportive of veterans and you want to spend money on a street sweeper instead of this. I think that's just a false choice, and it's unfair. It's really, frankly, unfair to the veterans to put them in that kind of, as political pawns in that. That's not right. And so it should rise or fall on its own merits. I think your suggestion to come up with is a good one. And so we need to do a roll call on a motion to table because it has to involve an ordinance, so a roll call would be appropriate.
Councilman Sylvester.
Yes.
Councilman Scott.
Yeah.
Councilman Blumetti.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murphy.
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes, so ordinance 2520 has been tabled. All right, next up, we have ordinance 2521. So Madam Clerk, could you please read the title of ordinance 2521?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 18 Comprehensive Land Management Code in the Code of the Township of Sparta.
Okay, we're now open to public comment on ordinance 2521. So Mr. Sears, I think now's your moment. All right.
The point I talked about before was dealing with the zoning and planning department, and many times we have, or my clients have been denied based on 18-5(3). And I really would like to find out about the applicability of this. I do have a copy of the ordinance here, and this ordinance should be applicable to non-residential major developments, aspect of residential major developments that are not preempted by the residential site improvement standards, and to non-major developments that are subject to review by the Sparta Township Planning or Zoning Board. As far as I can tell, this section would only be applicable to those elements. And those applications which would go in front of the planning board or zoning board. We have been denied several times, or my clients have been denied several times, in sections of 18.5.3. And none of those clients were, any of these. They were not a major development, they were not a residential major development, and they were not a non-major development as defined in the ordinance. So I would just like to clarify who 18-5.3F is applicable to.
I suggest you leave your contact information with me, Mr. Sears, and I'll get you an answer back because it sounds engineering related to me. As far as this ordinance goes.
It's pretty clearly laid out in the Comprehensive Land Management Code.
Right.
Under that section, 18.5 C1, and it has a whole section on applicability right here. And that's, they don't mention anything else but what's in here. This is actually a point I've taken up with the town engineer, Mr. Stoner,
Yes.
as well as Ms. Fox from the zoning department. And they have been pretty steadfast that everything in section 18.5, which is subdivisions and site improvement standards, is applicable to whoever they feel like applying it to. So I'd like to get that clarified.
Just so I'm clear, Manager Zepp, the ordinance 2521, we are simply adopting at this point the recommendations it's not really a recommendation because we kind of have to do it.
The state mandate.
From the state.
Their state
Right,
mandates.
okay. And I think, am I right, Mr. Sears, is that you think a clarification should be put into this ordinance, which is not a clarification that the state has mandated, but one you think that needs to be in here
Right.
based on the experiences you have. Is that right?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct, yep.
And so, what I
mean,
think.
the section is already in the Land Management Code. It seems to be very vague on who it gets applied to and who it doesn't get applied to.
And so you would
I'd just like to see a level playing field. This is where you need this, and this is where you don't.
Okay, and so I think what I'm hearing is that, we are free to add additional requirements above and beyond the state. We're not allowed to give less.
Correct.
But I think what would make sense to me is, we go ahead and adopt these this ordinance, which is recommended by the state. But I think we should take up Mr. Sears' that maybe further clarification of this so that may help the confusion that is happening, apparent confusion at our planning office. So that provision you're talking about, we can further clarify. So the person reading it, there won't be as much ambiguity as you say.
That's what I'm looking for.
Does that make sense to you?
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Okay.
We can do that. We can enhance the ordinance.
So why don't we go ahead and, we can go ahead and after more of the public comment, take a vote on this. And then I think, there should be a dialogue and then at another point, we can amend this ordinance under, if it needs further clarification, then we can do so.
That's fine.
All
Can
right?
you have an engineer, Mr. Stoner, in here explaining in English what this is?
I've got
Rather
some
than
clip
just
notes that
adopt
I've
it
spoke to
from
him.
the state.
Well, it's mandated.
It's mandated.
It's mandated. We have no choice, so we have to, ours has to reflect the state. Doesn't mean later on we can't add clarification languages, that, as long as it doesn't weaken it. Right, that's my take on it. So this is just something we have to do.
Right.
If we want to clarify later to help
And
people
his
understand it, that
concern
makes
is
sense.
just applicability. They're two
Yeah,
separate
yeah.
issues that are going on.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard on ordinance 2521? Okay, I will take it back to council for any comment. I think as has been explained, this is something that we're mandated to do. It wasn't us coming up with these changes. This was the state. And what's the, if we were to do nothing and just let this languish and not adopt it, what are the downsides of doing that?
We'd lose our stormwater permit. and then we would be subjected to fines and summons.
That sounds like a bad thing.
It is a bad thing. And
Okay.
you know what? I did speak to the engineer, and I got some cliff notes here, and I'll read that may just help. Attaches proposed stormwater control ordinance amendments for Sparta Township. This ordinance updates portions of Chapter 18, Section 5.3, Stormwater Control. These updates are required to bring the township stormwater control code requirements up to speed with the current NJDEP regulations. Amendments to the township current code are related to new definitions and updated design requirements. These amendments ensure Sparta Township's compliance with the updated NJDEP stormwater management rules. They improve environmental protection, address future climate impacts. The ordinance provides clear technical standards and centralized resources for design, maintenance, and public transparency. I'm told that the largest impact of these current ones has to deal with the calculations that the engineers and developers use. It's no longer for the traditional 2, 10, 100-year storm. They've been increased because of the climate change. And that's why we're here right now tonight adopting these.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. Any other council wishing to be heard? Okay, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Sylvester,
Yes.
Councilman Scott,
This is to take, this is,
To adopt, yeah.
yes.
Did we do a motion?
You're probably right, and then that's that's on me. May we have a motion to adopt 2521?
So moved.
All right, Madam Clerk, can we have,
Second it.
all right, have a roll call, please?
Councilman Sylvester,
Yes.
Councilman Scott,
Yes.
Councilman Blumetti,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes, so ordinance 2521 has been adopted. We are now up to 2522. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title of ordinance 2522?
Ordinance of the Township of Sparta, County of Sussex, New Jersey, repealing and/or withdrawing Ordinance 25-07, Ordinance 25-08, and Ordinance 25-09 relating to cannabis zoning, licensing, and taxing regulations.
Okay, now it's open for public comment on ordinance 2522. Anyone wishing to be heard on 2522?
And again, I just have a quick clarifier. So you guys had already made these ordinances law. They were not rescinded within the 20-day period of time when originally these were put in and when they were adopted as law. So my understanding is that the state of New Jersey, once that happens, regardless of the fact that, because they were not rolled back, that in the eyes of the state, once you're in for a 5-year period of time. You cannot back out of that agreement or these ordinances for a period of 5 years. I think, in my opinion, just my humble opinion, I think everything was done sort of backwards. I get why we're going backward, but my concern while we're talking about budgets and deficits and all kinds of stuff like that is how much is this going to cost us? Are we setting ourselves up? Now, can we roll these back in the state of New Jersey? Can we roll it back without getting really sued again? And I am in support of rolling them back. I just want to understand what we're getting ourselves into because these things are already ordinances and the state was very clear.
Yeah, I can answer that question. It's a good question. And the short answer is yes, we can lawfully repeal these ordinances. Whether we get challenged by a lawsuit is always a possibility. But in my opinion, we do have a valid basis to be able to repeal these.
But if we repeal them, is that recognized by the state? I understand that you're saying you can repeal the ordinances locally in land use law. I understand that's what you're saying. I'm more worried about the state. So because once these are law, the state takes over.
Well, we're complying both with municipal law, zoning law, state law. So if the state has a different interpretation of its law, it would be free to make that. But I don't believe that the state has a basis to challenge or repeal.
So has anyone reached out to any representatives of the state, the board, the cannabis board, the regulatory board of the state to make sure that we can roll these back without getting sued?
I mean, I don't believe that, I haven't, certainly I can't speak for the council, but I don't believe that inquiry is necessary for the purposes for this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jenny Derricks happened to Sparta, just to follow up on what Ms. Quinn was saying. I read the Creme Act, however you say it. I couldn't find it in there anywhere that said that once you're in, you have to stay in for 5 years.
That's correct.
So that's legend, it's just not in the law. I
Correct.
couldn't find it, I'm not a lawyer.
No, your observation is accurate. There is nothing in the language of the statute that prohibits a municipality that has opted out to later opt in.
But what about the other
And,
ways?
and vice versa. And
the other way.
Correct.
Is it also true?
I'm sorry, I should have said that. Once you have opted in, there's nothing prohibiting you to passing or in fact, the language of the statute expressly allows for a prohibition subsequent to you opting in.
So you can, at any time, even if, so the town, say we had a shop open already, the town could still repeal, it just that shop would have to be able to stay open.
Right.
They'd be grandfathered, right? Is that what you're
Right.
asking?
Right. And so we haven't had anybody apply.
Correct.
Has there been any notice of an intent to sue?
No.
So there's been no activity on these ordinances since the council took their action back in the spring to suspend and announce that it was going to referendum.
Not to my knowledge.
There's been no action. There's been nobody threatening a suit.
Not to my
And
knowledge.
so right now, what we're doing is we're taking action to say, no, we changed our mind. We don't want it. No harm, no foul, because nobody is working in the town already with even with an application.
Correct.
And, but we are not relieved of the responsibility. Every 5 years, the council has to review and decide once again whether or not they want to opt in. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's in the language of the statute.
So that means next year, because 21, we opted out. 26, we have to opt out again. Is that correct?
Yeah, under section, I think it's 45 of the statute.
Okay, so right now we're in the clear. There's nothing going on, no litigation, no applications, and there is nothing in the Creme Act, how do you say it, do you know? Anyway, so there's nothing in the act that says once you're in, you have to stay in for 5 years.
That's my interpretation.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else from the public wishing to be heard on 2522? Okay, I'll take it back to council for any comments. I'll start to my left, far left.
Sure. I'm of the belief that it was a defective vote to begin with, so I am certainly for repealing it.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
I have no comment.
Councilman Sylvester.
Yeah, I mean, my position's been very clear. I was going to support the residents of Sparta in the referendum, so I'm definitely in support of repealing and withdrawing this ordinance.
Councilman Blumetti.
Yeah, I believe we likely need to get there, allowing cannabis use or uses, probably a use in the future. The fact is that many New Jerseyans, many Spartan residents enjoy cannabis products. I don't personally, but occasionally, whether it's for recreation, similar to alcohol, whether it's for wellness or sleep needs or what have you, or helping with fight a disease for pain relief. But it's out there, it happens. And why I'm saying that is access to safe, legal product, restricted to those only above 21 and over, of course, is crucial. So that I think is a fact, that we need to have that safe access regardless of where it is. People need to be protected. At this moment in time, majority of residents either aren't ready for retail where it was proposed or retail at all, or there might be a disconnect in the understanding of what the ordinance represents in terms of scope or impact, positive or negative. But so perhaps we'd be better served a little down the road, reviewing or refining the timing perhaps the details, perhaps looking at location again. In the meantime, though, we'll have to rely, of course, on our wonderful police to keep a keen eye out for illicit activity and for the unregulated market in action, because it's going to come back. So that's kind of my comments for now. I'm not going to debate how we got here, or if that was appropriate or not, but I think it's something that we'll need to revisit down the road at some point.
Well, I like to add a comment that 250 feet within a school, a playground, a church, it's not where it needs to be. In any town you come to get into our beautiful town, any road has several right at the border, at least two. So I don't feel we ever need it here. It's my position and my opinion, but I'm very glad, and our constituents spoke. So I'm very glad, and I'm happy to repeal this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the residents spoke very clearly that they don't want cannabis sales in town. If they need it, they can stop on Route 15 at Gas and Grass,
The newest one.
our newest one. And there, as we know, there's 11 places within 2 miles of Sparta. We don't need it in this town. I don't want to hear, I disagree with Councilman Blumetti, because I just hear him setting us up to debate this all again in the spring. And I mean, we're not going to do that.
Well, if it needs to be debated, we will. I'm not saying we're going to get there, Mark. It might be never. It might be down the road. But if it needs to be debated, it'll be debated.
Well,
And,
Dean, you
don't
should look
forget-
at what the people say.
Mark, don't forget, 1/3 of Spartans wanted it, that voted, and half of Sparta did not vote. So just remember, I reflected on how many residents now aren't ready for this, and that's why I have my position that I explained. But don't overestimate it, or don't think we should never revisit it, because if we need to, as a council, we need to debate it down the road.
We have to decide to opt out again anyway, so.
Yeah.
So I think, an explanation, as someone who voted for this initially, it's something bear with me, I'm going to kind of explain to you some of my reasoning, and I'll get there about how I intend to vote. And as I thought about this vote this week, I'm reminded of a scene and a quote from probably a book everyone read in high school called To Kill a Mockingbird. And there is a scene in that movie where Atticus Finch is confronted by his daughter, Scout, who's just gotten bullied at school. And again, if people know what To Kill a Mockingbird about, it's about Atticus Finch. He's representing a black man accused of rape, and everyone in the town thinks the man's guilty. And Scout has been bullied at school and is asking, Dad, why? The whole town thinks this guy is guilty. Why are you even bothering with this? And Atticus says, before I can live with other folks, I have to live with myself. The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. And so it's my conscience that I've been thinking about, after this November 4th vote. This ordinance, as I've said repeatedly, was what I thought was good policy, which is what we're tasked to do. Why is it good policy? Because cannabis is legal, and I believe that we need to put a regulatory framework around it. Because we all have experiences when you fail to put a regulatory framework around it, what has happened? We've had not one, not two, but 3 separate raids of smoke shops selling illegal cannabis. And at no point were the people who have been opposed to this, did they ever come up and tell us that we need to put a stop to these smoke shops. It wasn't until we tried to regulate it that we got a lot of brushback. And so again, I thought this was good policy. It had nothing to do with people had accused me of somehow this was part of my political ambition. Somehow I was going to do a favor to someone. Well, go check out my NJ-elect and find any contribution from any cannabis industry. You won't find it. This had nothing to do with any kind of political stepping stone or something like that. And it's insulting to me and the job that I take seriously to even make that kind of accusation. And then I've seen whether it's good policy or not. How do I know that? I went to Mayor's Sussex County a month ago. They had a meeting of all the mayors in Sussex County, and there's an opportunity for all the mayors to stand up and highlight outstanding achievements in their town. And every single town that has authorized this, that was something that they were proud of. They didn't say, oh my gosh, what a big mistake, it's turned into this nightmare. No, they were applauding the revenue that they've generated. It's been ease of administration. It's ensured that they know where that cannabis is coming from. It's regulated. And so they were saying how good of a thing that, again, it's about the policy. So I think it's bad policy to repeal this. I also think there is legal risk, as former Councilwoman Quinn pointed out. I think that we did opt in when we voted validly for this. And so when we haven't been able to find a case where a town that opted in by virtue of not taking any action within 6 months, no town, we couldn't find any case where, so for example, a town failed to opt out, so they're automatically opt in, then decided, oh my gosh, we need to get out of this, let's repeal it. Couldn't find a case on that. And I think to me, the nub of the issue is they do have a mandatory opt-in. If you fail to act within 180 days, you are opted in. And so given that provision, I think there's a legal question about whether you can opt out by virtue of repeal given the mandatory opt-in provisions that exist. And I think that's a debatable issue. Whether the state of New Jersey wants to litigate that, I don't know. But there is legal risk, and people should be aware of that. And so, again, I think that we may stand in the same shoes of a town that failed to opt out that then tries to repeal. And I get that generally ordinances are able to be repealed. And whether there's not a specific prohibition on repealing this, but given the opt-out provisions, I think it's debatable. And so there is legal risk, and I'm concerned about that. So finally, thinking, hey, I think it's bad policy. I think it's a bad legal risk. So what next? But I remember that the reason why we are here is based on the consent of the governed, meaning the consent that the people give us, right? And you have to take seriously that of the 50% of the people who voted, 65% say they don't want this. So not only have they consented to us doing this, I think they've also consented to the downsides of it, right, which I've articulated. I think we will continue to see the unregulated distribution of cannabis in our town without a regulatory framework. I think we will also see possible incursion of legal risk, but the town has consented to that. And so I'm kind of reminded of a vote I took 2 months ago involving a turf field at Ungerman. And some of my fellow councilmen made a very impassioned argument of why we shouldn't allow turf fields. And frankly, I agreed with it. Turf is on the way out. We shouldn't be doing it. But standing before me were the people who were going to play on that turf field, the children and the parents. The people most affected by that were there saying, we want that turf field. And so I voted to have that. And so I feel like I'm in the same situation now, which is the people have consented to repealing this. They then consented to the downside of doing so, and they've also consented to the legal risk. And so I don't think I have, if I believe in that concept of consent of the governed, I think they've given the consent notwithstanding all my reservations. And so I will vote to repeal this with a lot of reservations that I put out, but I think that they gave the consent, and who am I to stand in their way? Thank you. Anyone else from council wishing to be heard?
I would just like to add to that, Mayor, that being in Colorado a bit and having seen what happened out there when one of the first states that made it legal, and now, how many years later, maybe 10 years later, they have closed more than half of their stores, and they had a lot of problems. There's more arrests, there's more accidents, there is more, I can get you the statistics, but I just, at this point in time, I don't feel it does any good for our town whatsoever. So thank you for agreeing to vote it and repeal it.
So may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2522?
I make the motion that we adopt 2522.
May I have a second, please?
It's 2520. I have a second that.
Okay, Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call?
Councilman Sylvester,
No.
Councilman Scott,
No?
It was to adopt,
A positive,
To adopt this means to repeal it.
repeal it. Then take two. Yes,
Councilman Sylvester,
yes.
Councilman Scott,
yes.
Councilman Blumetti,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. So ordinance 2522 has been adopted. And
You were all paying attention.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Don't worry, Mike, I do it every other week.
All right, we are now at our second public comment period having to do with the resolution. So if you have a comment on the 7 resolutions that we have, please stand up and do so today. And please be mindful of the 5-minute limit.
Mike Devine, Sparta. I had comment about 93 and 94. I've had a fair familiarity with audits, and typically there are highlighted, I don't know, you call it significant variations or whatever, and they generally require a corrective action plan. It looks to me like you've got that. 9.3 is a statement of the audit in a sense, and 9.4 is the corrective action plan. If I look at the corrective action plan quickly, some of them look like they're fairly both surprising and maybe significant errors or whatever. So I assume if it's a finding that it did happen to some extent, such things as, first one is procedures be implemented to ensure budget line items are not overspent. It sounds semi-egregious. Maybe I'm overstating it. A couple of the others seem like they're pretty substantial problems. So I guess my question is, what's your assessment of how serious these findings were? And are you confident that the corrective action plan will be adequate to reverse them? That's my time.
I think it's a fair question. And why don't you give us a little background about what this audit is? And I think that my understanding of the things that came up to the corrective action are the things that the auditor deemed significant enough, one, to identify it, two, to recommend a corrective action.
Okay, just for your information, I have posted the audit on the website. You'll see it under the finance webpage, so the public and anyone who wants to see it, they can do that. And it is a mandated practice that I do that, so that is done. And I'm pleased to report, you all may be wondering who the gentleman is sitting next to me. He is our financial consultant. The CFO couldn't be here tonight. She had a prior obligation here. So Mike Reno is our financial consultant, and he helps me all things finance. So I'm going to just duck out here. I'm going to let Mike explain to your questions.
And Jim, can I just clarify for the public too? Just a reminder, because I did this myself. This is about 2024.
Correct.
So this is, it's unfortunately, we get it a year and a half or year and 3/4 later, but just to
Typical for audits.
recognize it's for 2024 is a year, so, okay.
The budget of 2024 was an extremely tough year to deal with. I came in at the end to help administer and help guide the situation. There was many fires to put out, as we had a prior administrator come in and say 1.3 million worth of transfers. Yes, because the budget was not put together as well as it should have been for '24. We have corrected that. And yes, on tonight's meeting, there is the first go-around of transfers for this year of 2025's budget, and it's substantially less than what occurred for the 2024 budget. And the state gives each municipality 2 months at the end of the year and 3 months of the following year to help make sure that this doesn't happen as the procedure to implement budget line items are not overspent. In 2024, there was so much going on. I missed a couple. I'll be honest. So
Well, when it says budget line items are not overspent, do you have any sense of the magnitude of the overspending that happened? I mean, to be a significant finding, it must have been some kind of consequential number.
I'll put it to you this way: there are several line items that were overspent, but in overall, the budget still has of 24, there's still 400,000 that has not been spent. So in totality, the budget was not overspent and was not covered by the transfers that should have put those fires out, and some of the line items were missed.
Right, I'm not trying to beat you up here.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
That's why I'm here.
maybe I
You can
am,
take it.
Finding four all grant, no, I mean, finding four all grants to be approved before being charged. So somehow that seems like a pretty
Yes,
strong way.
as a matter of fact, I was surprised this evening that the police received a $7,000 grant. I was not told that grant was just received. Now, it has to be put in, it's called a 159 agreement, to give us, yes, we received the grant, but we still have to notify the state so it can be budgetarily approved to be spent. So again, here was something even tonight that we have to notify the departments that they have to notify us so that we can do the procedure to be able to spend it by the state guidelines.
So in summary, if you tighten up all these things, which I guess is your responsibility or somebody's,
It's the new CFO. I am guiding her in the proper procedures. She's passed all the state required courses. It takes a while to learn all the,
what's your expectation when we audit 2025? Will you see any repeat of any of this stuff, or do you think it's been tightened up?
I guarantee there'll be a repeat, 48 hours.
Yeah,
Why? Because you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of Thanksgiving. You're not going to be able to make those deposits within 48 hours.
how about 26 by then?
No, that one will always be there. It is
Some of
almost
these
like
are-
given.
Some of these are pretty fundamental procedural practices, right?
Yeah, some of these, I do not anticipate, the first one as we discussed, the second one as well. Things have been put in place that the new CFO has eyes on these items that are going on. The 48-hour thing it's almost an auditor freebie.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Good luck.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other member of the public wishing to be heard on the resolutions?
Jenny Derricks, I'm just asking in the similar vein to Mike, how long are you going to be around to continue to consult?
That's up to the council.
So
Jim,
you're
and
here
also
for the
city.
year, you were here last year, you were here this year. Do you anticipate?
I am reducing my time. Last year, because of the 11th hour, I was in maybe 3 days a week. Currently, I'm in 1 day a week.
Okay.
So my time is being reduced.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other
Why
member?
was 24 a tough year? Is it because the taxes hadn't been raised the year before?
They actually were raised that year,
That
but
year,
the
right.
prior years,
They had
but the
not.
budget put together not as tightly as we've done. There's been procedural changes that Jim sat through last year, and even, he's quiet over here.
Yeah.
The police chief actually thanked us for doing the process that we are doing now. We sit down with each department, discuss their line items, and make sure that they're facilitated and/or know that they are, their feet are held to the fire on the spending side of that. Okay?
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other member of the public wishing to be heard on any of the resolutions.
Well, I didn't say that, but yeah.
Okay. So I think that there's at least two of these resolutions that we can do as one. So I would make a motion to approve resolutions 9-1 and 9-6. So may I have a motion to approve resolutions 9-1 and 9-6?
I move to approve resolutions 9-1 and 9-6.
And just so we're clear, that's 9-1 is a resolution authorizing the cancellation of tax for disabled veterans. 9-6 is an ABC renewal, 25-26 for the Homestead Restaurant. So we have a first, we just need a second for the approval of resolutions 9-1 and 9-6.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, 9-1 and 9-6 have been approved. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-2, which is a resolution setting the date for the township's 2026 reorganization meeting?
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second,
And,
that is
yeah, what's,
December,
January 6th.
January 6th.
Okay.
Reorg meeting.
okay, so we have a second. All those in favor of Resolution 9-2, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So I'm going to do these two together since they are related, 9-3 and 9-4. So may I have a motion to approve resolutions 9-3, which is a resolution of the annual report of audit, and 9-4, which is a resolution authorizing acceptance of the 2024 corrective action plan.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 9-3 and 9-4.
I'll second.
I'll take it back to council. Anyone have questions about it? Okay. All those in favor of resolutions 9-3 and 9-4, say aye.
Aye.
All right, resolutions 9-3 and 9-4 have been approved. Next up, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-5, which is a resolution amending the Township of Sparta's personnel policy and procedure.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 9-5.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
I'll just take it back. Could you just give us a little background on 9-5 and how it came to be?
Sure. This is usual. We belong to the Morris County GIF Association, and what they do is they will annually give us language for updates in our policy manual to keep us in the good graces of our insurance. And what we do is we take a lot of that, and I give it to our attorney, who reviews it, and we make the appropriate changes in the policy manual. Doesn't happen all the time, but when we get enough items, and then we review the policy manual again and update it for language and whatnot. And it's a concerted effort between us and the township attorney.
Okay, thank you. Right. All those in favor of approving Resolution 9-5, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 9-5 has been approved. Next up is, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 9-7, which is a resolution authorizing the transfer of calendar year 2025 budget appropriations.
I'll move to approve Resolution 9-7.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 9-7 has been passed.
Now, Mike, can I ask a question on that? This is the first of, there will be another resolution at the end of the year or in January to,
I guarantee it. We have,
Okay.
the state provides us the mechanism
Right.
from November 1st to December 31st of 2025 budget. And then the following 3 months.
3 months.
From January 1st to March 31st to facilitate not getting that recommendation of line items are not overspent. So we move the monies around to facilitate shortfalls of one department into another. And each time this occurs, we discuss it with the department so they know that we are utilizing some of their funds. Some of the funds they, especially the salary and wages, they don't really know, but we do because we're the ones administering it on the backside. So we make sure that everything is covered. Hopefully there's not as many as last year, please. So,
thank you very much.
you're welcome.
And we'll get the full report on
Okay, we're now up to council liaison updates. I guess it's Councilman Sylvester, you haven't been assigned any, so you probably don't have any. As of
None to
yet.
report.
All right. Don't worry, you'll get your chance. So I'll then move it to Councilman Blumati.
So my major update, I guess, is on the Business Development Committee. As was mentioned earlier, we had our final meeting of the year on Thursday, December 4th, last Thursday evening. We hosted 3 guests from the business community, and they joined the BDC to share their experiences and ideas related to how Sparta can better encourage new businesses and support existing businesses. Our town manager, Mr. Zepp, participated as well. A special thank you to our 3 guests who did join us. And remember, too, the BDC is comprised of business owners and residents as well, but these were 3 people from the community that have businesses that aren't typically included in there. So Alex Berardi from Berardi Building Company, Chris Murch from Wagmore Pet Boutique and Bakery, and Andrew Milling from Weichert Realtors. So I just want to thank Manager Zepp too and Michelle Landau for help with getting us all set up in there and having a nice evening for folks. We had a very productive discussion. I'll be sharing more at a future meeting, including topics that the BDC has been pulling together over the last number of meetings about recommendations to the council, and it'll also include feedback that we heard a couple nights ago. But the topics ranged from the planning board, planning and zoning department, ordinances, ways to attract and support businesses, MITRE site plan waiver subcommittee, forms, processes. So it was a full spectrum of discussion, and people, I think, were glad to be there, and we appreciated their input. So we need to now take that and come up with some ideas and plans on how to help improve things and support the experience for the business owners and potential business owners, and also just to support the business community in general. So more to come on that, but it was a good evening and a nice way to wrap up the last meeting for the BDC. Switching gears a little bit, just a quick update, the master plan subcommittee met last night. And again, we had a productive meeting. We talked a lot about the process for moving forward in next year, and also we spent a decent amount of time finalizing ideas for next Wednesday's planning board meeting. There'll be a brief presentation at the planning board meeting, just to the public, just to share a quick snapshot of kind of where we are at this point, and to share a summary of all of the research we've gathered now. So we just pretty much are concluding the research phase. There's been other work going in parallel, but the research started with the survey that the public took, and then a number of focus group sessions with key stakeholders, half a dozen or 9 or 10 of those, and then a large public meeting at the high school back at the end of October with 50 people attending it. So the idea now is, okay, we've captured a lot of public input. We have a lot of data about what's important, about the vision for Sparta. So this will be a quick little update next week, just for people to kind of get a glimpse at the themes and some of the things that we found out. And we'll be having more of those going into next year as well. So that's pretty much it for the master plan group too. So thank you.
Great. And so I think you alluded to it. What's the next step with respect to the information that you got at the business development? Like, what's sort of the next, how do you take what you heard and then distill that into an actual action item?
Yeah, so
And the deliverable.
Yeah, it's a good question. So the BDC is an advisory-only committee. So our goal and our plan is to create some recommendations that will go to the council, to the planning board, even in fact, maybe directly to the planning and zoning office. But we're going to come up with recommendations on things we've heard, ideas on how to improve things.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. So committees, the rec committee met about 2 weeks ago. So you heard in one of our accomplishments was a White Lake Pole Barn Maintenance Garage. That was something that the rec department had been wanting for a long time. Why is that? Because those are substantial fields that every time we wanted to cut the grass, we had to schlep the stuff all the way from the DPW and then schlep it all the way back. causing time and expense. And so this is a way that we can keep some of that equipment on site, which will expedite the cutting of the fields and also reduce transit time. So they were very appreciative that we were able to do that. Also, they spoke about the the meeting, the Santa thing that happened. You can tell my kids are grown. I don't pay attention to that, but 400 people is an amazing. That's huge, and that's solely put on our rec department to handle that, and they've done a fantastic job. Things that they're contemplating in next year. I think they're still looking for possible pickleball courts at White Lake Field. And so that's something that they are investigating. Next is, I had asked for an update about Kids Castle. That will be, I think, done next year. They are looking at, if people recall, Kids Castle, at first we were contemplating using Jacob's Law funding through Green Acres to make it a Jacob's Law compliant. This council decided against that because of all the requirements that would be incumbent upon us were we to take that grant money. So we thought it better to simply do that in-house and fund it ourselves. So we're doing that. But they are looking at, I think there's another playground in that station park that they're going to try to look to make Jacob's Law compliant. Jacob's Law is the law that tries to get our parks to be more accessible to those with disabilities. And so they are looking toward that. So that are some of the big events and also I want people should be on the lookout for a mailer that is going to come from the rec department. On that will be a QR code. That QR code is going to link to the latest offerings of our rec department, and you can and it will constantly be updated. So you can preserve that, and anytime you check that QR code, so you can check that QR code a year from now, and you'll get the latest schedule for all the offerings of the rec department. So that should be coming, I think, in the next 2 weeks or so, if I'm not mistaken. But take a look at all that they do. It's quite incredible, all the programs that we offer. So our next rec meeting will be in about 2 months, and maybe I'll have an update about the possible pickleball courts, because I know folks may be interested in that. Don't have an update for either film or trails, as we haven't met since then. With the Rev 250, they have been extremely busy, and we now have substantial progress on actual events that we will have in Sparta to celebrate the country's 250th anniversary. I'll just mention those. One is the Tavern Talk that I've mentioned. That's going to happen January 26th.
Which is sold out.
Yeah, which sold out like that. And next up will be in February. We're going to get, it's Dulcimer harpsichord colonial era music. We're trying to nail down the location for that. That will probably be, I think, February 28th. Then in March, we're going to have Martha Washington reenactor. That will be March 26th. Then in April, we have a cemetery dedication, and that's going to be at the Presbyterian Church, if I'm not mistaken. So at least for the first 4 months, we have something. May, still looking to possible events. Then we have on May 26th, it's Memorial Day Parade and Remembrance. That's going to be also a Rev 250. Then in Sparta Day in June, Flag Day, June 26th, there'll be another event. And then the July 4th parade. So there's a significant number of events, and really Sparta is taking the lead of any town in Sussex County. I don't think there's any other town that has done this much, and I really applaud to our Sparta Historical Association, because they've really done a great job, and based on their relationships that they have, I've mentioned before, we are going to be the repository of the state NJ Rev 250 traveling exhibit for 10 days. So not every town got this exhibit. The reason why we got it is because we've been taking the lead on this, And so it looks like we will pick that up on April 29th, put up on April 30th. It will be on display at the Historical Society from May 1st to May 26th, or May 11th, sorry. So again, that will be an exhibit that's by the state has given us the right to have that. So that's a huge accomplishment. So there'll be other events that I'll announce or Margie will announce along the way, but really applaud to our committee members who made this happen. Margie and I just kind of show up and they tell us what they're doing. And so we're really lucky to have the folks that we have on that committee. And, the Sparta beautification, we will start that in earnest in January when we appoint people as part of our reorganization meeting. But I do know that I think we've nailed down funding. I don't know the exact amount for that, but we got a donation, which is much appreciated. And then we will then staff that committee, and then it will be sort of up to them really to decide how best to spend that money that they've been appropriated, and then find other ways to get revenue. So, to support that effort. And with that, that is all my council liaison updates.
Okay. That the exhibition that'll be at the Historic Society with it was the flags of New Jersey, the Rev 250
Well, it's
coming.
the flags may be part of it, but it's an entire display which
Yeah.
will kind of lay out the history of, in New Jersey, what significant, Revolutionary War history happened here. I don't know.
Which was
a
quite a
ton,
bit.
right?
bit.
So that's, I don't know all that will be involved in that, but that's something that's sort of it's sponsored by the actual state NJ Rev 250 Association.
And this will be all on the website.
Yes.
And, but if you haven't gone to the Van Kirk Museum, please make an effort to do so. It's really quite amazing, quite amazing. One thing I would like to congratulate from the Environmental Commission is that we were again awarded the Bronze Award for all of the efforts that they have done. And it will be hanging out front if it isn't already. Okay, it'll be hanging out front, but again, Newton just joined, but it was down at the League of Municipalities luncheon. They had a really nice luncheon, and it was a really, really lovely event to find all the people that would really care about keeping New Jersey sustainable and all the efforts that all the different towns have made. And there's so much more we can do, but another time. Slowly but surely, we'll get there. That, I don't have anything on the seniors committee and the Rev 250, and that is all that I have for now.
Thank you, Councilwoman Murphy.
Are you sure?
I think so. Okay. I just want to make a comment on the cannabis. This has been a great accomplishment for our council and our town, truly reflecting the wishes of residents and voters. Let's keep Sparta the wonderful and safe community it is today. I hope the council remembers this when we are under review of cannabis sales in the spring. I had the opportunity to stop by the Chamber of Commerce holiday party just before the meeting tonight. There are some new businesses in town, and we hope to identify and list them on the town website. I ask all of us to support our local businesses during the holiday season. As Dean mentioned, we had a very beneficial meeting of the Business Development Committee last week. Realtors, developers, property owners, and business operators expressed planning and zoning operational concerns to the council. We're also working, I think Dean might have missed this, but we also are going to work on improving the website and the functionality between planning and zoning and the ability to get forms, et cetera.
It's part
And
of the
also to get
recommendations.
to get the process on the website to get an approval. The Municipal Alliance wishes to thank the work of our county coordinator, Lisa Lombardo. Sparta has been awarded several thousand dollars of additional dollars from the state and the county to boost our programs in 2026. As I finish my first year on the council, I've learned a great deal of how our town works. I wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday, and I look forward to a fresh start in 2026 with new ideas and a positive direction for the town in 2026. I think that's reiteration, but thank you.
Okay, we are now up to unfinished or new business, and I'll start again to my far right. I think you might have some unfinished or new business you want to mention.
Yeah, just two quick comments. First off, I wanted to acknowledge Berardi Building for their upgrade and renovations that they're doing. I thought it came out fantastic, and I do understand that they were able to keep the current tenants in that space functioning, operating, and moving forward. So it was great to see them work closely with the business community and keep those tenants there. So it's going to come out beautiful. I think there's even additional upgrading and paving going to happen in the spring. So congratulating them. And then secondly, just a reminder, I mean, it was great to see the township and the VFW partner to do the community tree lighting this Saturday at 6:30. I thought that was terrific. And hopefully that will be a tradition moving forward. But just a reminder that, encourage everybody to come out and celebrate. The VFW has a heavy day of events there, so it should be a fun-filled day, and ending by caroling and having a tree lighting as well. So, and then finally, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, fellow council members, and everyone in attendance, just wishing everyone a happy holiday season and wishing you all the best. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Two announcements. One is, again, with the new year approaching, a reminder for anyone interested in our township boards and committees, anyone watching at home right now, please consider it. Fill out the short volunteer candidate form online on the township website. And then secondly, similar to what we've heard, I just want to wish everyone, the public, our dedicated employees and professionals, both who aren't here tonight and even our special ones here tonight, and all of my fellow council members, a very happy holiday season.
Same. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to wish everybody and everybody online the happiest holiday ever. And moving forward, the happiest holiday ever. Yes.
That's Luke.
And we have with the tree lighting at Lake Mohawk on Sunday, the tree lighting here in town on this Saturday, just to start off our season.
Right.
And we would have had the barge and the reenactment of Washington's Crossing, but the lake, unfortunately, with the water being so low, we couldn't have it. So maybe next fall, we can reenact. Yeah. So thank you all and have a happy, happy holiday. Thank you all for your participation and dedication this year.
If I could just reiterate, thank you, that we, what happens at the reorganization meeting is that we make new appointments, including staff, we're going to need to staff up like our beautification committee. So I think we've already gotten some applications in, but I encourage folks, it really is a way to help and participate in your town, and you can see actual accomplishments. And I think a lot of the committee people get a lot of pride and joy when they actually can see the results of their hard work. I see it all the time with our Rev 250 when we sold out that event within the very short amount of time. That feels good. So it really is a way to give back to your town, and there's a lot of talent in this town that's just untapped. And it's kind of our job to seek that out and get people, and it's really a way for the council itself to really do some good. So again, I look forward to seeing who applies and trying to get these fully staffed out. With that, I do have, with our rec department, I've been trying to have them do an additional event or additional offering, which is, and and this is going to be, I have my own particular interest in this, which would be offering track workouts for endurance athletes, people who are runners. We need some coaches for that. I can't do. I'm one coach. I need probably two more. So if you have a background in running and have some experience with that, let me know, because we just need people to volunteer to staff that when we do have the workouts. We'll probably be like once a week, but we can't do it until we can have a staff for it. So in any event, hopefully we can get that filled and probably offer that in the spring. So that's one thing we're working on. And again, I hope everyone spends time with their family. I know as someone who has adult children now, you don't get to see them that often. And I hope everyone enjoys the time that they have with their family, and we can get back in January. We have a lot of work to do. I look forward to really, the ideas, particularly of our Business Development Committee, and I'm very glad that we have Councilman Sylvester here, who has quite some experience with that, and really look forward to seeing him. I know he's going to contribute in some really tangible ways, and I look forward to having him participate. So, and I hope all my fellow council members have a safe and happy holiday. And thank you to our staff who make this possible. I think, a lot of what we do up here and the things that get accomplished in this town are not the result of the 5 people up here. It's the result of the staff that works day in and day out. And so they're really worth, say thank you to them when you see them. So, all right, with that, we are now at our final public comment period, which you can speak on whatever you want to speak on.
Okay, Mike Devine, Sparta. I'm going to be a little bit nasty or blunt, let me put it that way. My 2 biggest concerns for the town are Route 15, which I think enough people have heard my concerns about that. It never gets any traction, so I think you're tired of me talking about it. The other is the business-friendly issue, the complaints of people about time to get permits, the complaints about planning process, et cetera, I forget what it's called, the short application process, minor site plan. The point is, as you may know, I was on the planning board 2 or 3 times. I was on council a total of 10 years. I can guarantee you that we've heard those exact same complaints since the last century, because I heard them myself, and I've heard it continuously through. I'm happy to hear what Dean's talking about doing. We had a similar initiative way back, and we did 3 things that I can remember that had at least a temporary effect and have been improving. Over time, faces change, boards change, and they kind of fell away. But let me just mention what they were. It's a little bit hard to talk about this because they're people I respect, colleagues, both up there as well as on the volunteers on all the boards. Having been one myself, I know it's easier to critique than to function sometimes. 3 things I remember that we did is fairly simple business process. We flow charted the planning and zoning approval permitting process. Takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes to flow chart it. You applied metrics to each step. The manager's a day-to-day guy. You say, okay, part of your appraisal is maybe to be measured by achieving these metrics. And that started to improve things. There are a lot of reasons that are kind of irrelevant why the individual pieces don't happen streamlined, or they're not oriented towards being successful as opposed to the process. If you get metrics to it, you quantify it, and if you hold the manager accountable for it, that had made some improvement. I felt personally that the planning board spent a lot of time on things that they shouldn't, and specifically things like, and it's a touchy subject, parking spaces, signs. I've been hearing that ad nauseum since forever. We tried to say to the professionals, the engineer and the attorney were applicable. When you get these issues with parking spaces and signs, you guys work it out. Come up with an algorithm that can solve 90% of it before it ever gets to the planning board. So the planning board can talk about things like the proposed architecture. Is it going to be compatible with the town? Is the net effect of this application going to be positive from a tax base, et cetera, et cetera? Is it compatible with the neighborhood that it's going in? I'd rather see the planning board focus at that level than spend time on parking spaces and signs. The last is, and the people in the planning board when I was here kind of eventually shared this perspective, at least some of them did. Let's do what a planning board should do. Let's function at the conceptual level that the planning board should be. And it's not obvious how that works. We did try to, I think at that time, there were courses from the League of Municipalities that kind of helped you focus the way a planning board is expected to operate. I think our attorney at that point, I think it was Tom Collins, way back, he had experience with many, many planning boards throughout the county and beyond. He kind of gave us a tutorial as to, here's the kind of things that a planning board should focus on. And it was very effective. So those just 3 examples of the kind of things we did. So I encourage and applaud what Dean's talking about. There are ways to make it better. It's going to rub some people the wrong way, frankly, but if you quantify what you can and you reserve for the planning board and the other boards things that are appropriate to that level, I think you might see more efficient. You might change the prevailing attitude that the town is not business friendly. And we all know the implications of that. People don't do things. I've had people say, I'm not going to work in Sparta because it's such a pain in the ass to get things done. The last piece is, and I don't know if we can do it, to me, it would be nice if we can become proactive in the planning sense. I know other towns, some even in New Jersey, say, I'd like to have this kind of business here. We have a perfect opening for it. Kind of find people who might want to do that business, see if there's an incentive we can give them to do it. If that's possible statutorily in New Jersey, I don't know, it'd be nice to find out. One specific example, and maybe I shouldn't even say this, is I guess we're committed to multi-story structure behind the Burger King, which I guess is on hold now because it was sold. At the same time, we're looking for senior housing. Senior housing, it may not be an ideal location for it, but if we have to put something there, it might be the best use of that space to solve the senior housing problem. Is there some way that we could engage whoever owns that property to do that? I mean, when I was in all these boards, I would try to find ways to maybe cut through the bureaucracy, so to speak, and find out ways to maybe outside the lines a little bit, accomplish things that were very good for the town. So that's my piece, and I wish everybody happy holidays as well. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Joanne Scally. Mayor, I just heard about Kids Castle and Jake's Law. I think that's great. Like I told you, my stepson was born with spina bifida, was in a wheelchair his whole life. I've been to countless wheelchair meets, countless family days at like A. Harry Moore in Jersey City. And I always felt so bad that the kids lived their life in their wheelchair. There was nothing else. They could see their brothers or sisters, friends playing on the playground, and basically they sat in their wheelchair. So it's great to hear, and thank you for that information on Jake's Law. I want to thank everyone up here for everything they do for the town employees, especially the police. Thank everyone for that, and happy holidays and happy New Year.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wishing to be heard?
Tap into Sparta, Jenny Derricks. Mr. Zepp, do you have anything new about the landfill?
I don't, Jenny.
So we're still on hold waiting for the state to approve the transfer of land.
Correct.
And the brownfield designation is waiting for that, or is that a separate track?
No, I believe it's the process of getting the parcels accepted first and then finding out, if they're eligible for the brownfield.
We would have to talk about Prince Harry.
We would have to close the landfill first, get it officially closed, and then they would apply for the brownfield designation. But I'm not sure exactly where they're at this point.
Okay, because we had already applied and got rejected for
Right.
that, so, okay. Last meeting, there was a woman here very upset about something that was going on at the property next to her, 809 West Mountain, the parking lot. Has there been any update on that? Has the township done anything about it?
There has. We aggressively looked into it. As we said we would, we Also addressed the property owner, and I'm pleased to report that it's going to be mitigated. It's in the process of being mitigated. The truck parking is in the process of being removed, and the soils are going to be addressed. So I'm actually really pretty pleased with the way we're going right now, because the property owner kind of, listened to us. We explained to him all the violations they were doing, and he's going to take care of it. And we're right there to watch him.
Okay, because from what I've seen so far, this started a year ago. It started October 2024. The first complaint was signed November 2024. The next action that I was able to get documentation of didn't happen until May. And follow-up on that didn't happen until July. And there it sat from July for a year to July, where they got notifications, and they continued to operate with impunity. And now because this woman finally, couldn't take it anymore, came here and was able to get some movement on that. So you say you're pleased with the way things are going. Remediation, does that mean they're going to scrape all the dirt, the stuff out that they brought in? Are they going to return the land to the correct
They're
elevations?
I know they're working with the engineer right now, and the engineer's also working with Delaware Soils, because they were brought in. I'm sure you saw that in your request there. And I don't know enough information to tell you exactly what they're going to do. It is being addressed, and I know the homeowner's being kept abreast of what's happening.
Okay, but other than remediation, is there going to be any consequences for what happened, both within this building, because it wasn't followed up on seemingly the way it should have been, and outside to the property owner that did what they did for so long, even knowing that it wasn't right? Especially, the property owner next door, the one that made the complaint, said that they were delivering dirt, and it's noted in the documentation, delivering dirt in the middle of the night. So they clearly knew that what they were doing was not right. Are there going to be any consequences for this? Or are they just going to get, and hope that it doesn't happen again somewhere else in town?
I'm not sure right now, Jenny. We have ordinances that address that, and we'll follow the ordinances and the procedures that we have in place. And I'll also seek guidance from the township attorney, and I'll be able to give you better information from that. But the best outcome is that it's being addressed. I know we've dealt with other issues with different violations where the offender is not so forthcoming.
I understand that there is no code enforcement officer currently employed in the town, but some things are obviously being done that are not following our ordinances, and they seem to be done, with, again, use the same word, impunity, and without consequences. I would, I live here too, and would hope that there are consequences for
I understand that.
for what allowed it to go for a year. And finally, a woman coming to this microphone is what finally got it to stop.
Yeah, if I can just speak, yeah. No, I think, yeah,
Should have went first, Jenny.
yeah, no. I think on the consequences point, definitely having to shut down and do all the things that he's going to have to do, that is a consequence. But I think, to your point, I'm particularly, just speaking for myself, I'm particularly disturbed and concerned about that someone would think that they could do such a thing in this town, to open up a very intense use in a residential zone and not even bother to do a permit. And the purpose of consequences is to deter further action. And so I think that beyond having to remediate, beyond having to do that, we have to think seriously, how do we prevent this from happening in the future? How do we prevent another person from saying, you know what, we can just come in and do whatever use we want? Ordinances, Notice of violations be damned. We can't have that happening here. You know, the residents expect us to be vigilant about that, and it shouldn't have to take a homeowner coming in and telling us what's going on my property. There's bulldozers, there's tractor trailers. That just shouldn't happen, and we have to, I think, take seriously that not only should that be remedied where it is, but we have to think about how do we deter such conduct in the future. So I hope we can have a robust discussion in 2026 about that, because I know,
And have it taken care of immediately.
yes, exactly. So with that, anyone else? Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
I have one more thing under new business, old business.
Sure.
I just wanted to know and I want to correct it, I hope, by the reorganization meeting. On the plan, when you look on the planning board site, on the website, a few weeks ago, or just a week or so ago, just magically, Rob Otto's term as a member of the planning board, his 4-year term was decreased into 1 year. And he is all of a sudden on the website now, done with his term at 12/31 of this year. He was appointed to be a 4-year member, and I just don't know why and how stuff like that could happen. So I would just hope that we could find out what's going on there, Jim. Sure. Thanks.
And thank God we have a new IT department helping us.
Yeah, the website is been moving along, and I think everyone's starting to see all the improvements for it. And I also welcome suggestions from the public, from the council, on
Updating
ways
it.
to improve it. And you know, every day we work harder to get accurate, updated information, make it more user-friendly, easier to navigate. But I do have two great IT guys, and they're very responsive, and I'm really pleased.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Joe, before the meeting, I was looking on our volunteer application form, and on the drop-down menu, there were 3 committees that were missing, which were trails, beautification, and film. And I just asked Joe to do it, and he got it done like less than an hour, like that. So I encourage people, if you have, you know, suggestions, I mean, committee folks, council who is on a committee where you want to get more information about your committee, talk it amongst yourselves as a committee, come to consensus on what you'd like, and then you can communicate with Joe and work that out about how to make a more robust website for all the various committees, because he does a fantastic job, and we are very fortunate to have him.
One last question, just clarifications on the events coming up with the tree lightings. I know Councilman Sylvester and Deputy Mayor Murphy, you mentioned VFW. Do you know what time it is on Saturday, just so people know?
6:30.
Okay, and Lake Mohawk?
It was last
Yeah,
Sunday.
it was last.
Oh, that was last Sunday?
Yeah,
Okay, so next year, maybe 6:30 next, or, okay.
6.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe
okay.
6 next year.
Okay, all right. What's that?
Huh?
Menorah lighting is Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sunday, the 14th, that will also be.
I believe so, yeah.
Town recreation, their menorah lighting.
Be right out.
Out here.
I believe it's at
Sunday afternoon for the menorah
Has
lighting.
to be
Okay,
before sundown.
okay. That's Sunday, just so everyone can hear at home. Sunday, 4:30. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are.